Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. Today I'm going to be doing my January TBR. I'm a little later posting this than I usually am because a lot has been going on. I've had a lot of dental work and dental issues, swelling, like a lot of pain. I had an infection. I've been on antibiotics for a couple weeks. It's just been kind of hell. So I've been delayed getting my end of the year stuff up too. So I do apologize. I have videos planned. I'm just trying to find the time to get those filmed in between having my dental work done and the swelling. So let's just quickly go into my January TBR. I'm going to go over first our buddy read for me, bestie book reviews and bookmark by Jen. And then I'll go over the arcs. I have one arc for sure that I know I'm getting, but I should be getting some of these other ones, some hopeful, so I'm not sure. But I'm going to add them here anyways. And then the other hopeful books that I really want to get to in January. All right, so first, let's go over the buddy read. We are going to be doing the buddy read for January on Bookmark by Jen's channel. I believe it is the January 20th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we will get that info to you later. I'm not positive for sure if that's the date, but I believe that's what we're going with. And we are going to be reading The Tryst by Lauren Blakely. I don't really know a lot about this, but I think Jen said that it is kind of like a boyfriend's dad age gap kind of thing. And if you have seen my channel before, you know that boyfriend's dad, ex-boyfriend's dad, anything like that is my jam. I freaking love it. I love age gap. And I've never read Lauren Blakely, so I'm excited to finally read one of her books. And this is great because it's a more recent release. I don't know how long ago it was, but and it's also a book that none of us have read, and that's kind of hard to do with 4 people. That's all we do is read. So I'm excited to do that. And then we'll be putting out, our graphics later. So make sure you join us for that buddy read. And I believe it is January 20th. Okay, so now to my arcs. The one arc that I for sure got, because it's an earlier release in the month, and I just got the email the other day that I for sure got it, and I'm so excited. And that is Toxic Love by Jagger Cole. Jagger Cole, I fell in love with him this last year after the Mafia readathon. Jen from the Book Refuge read his books, and I was really interested to read like a male author. And I read his last Mafia series. I think it's the Dark Heart series. I might have that wrong. But I basically have gotten the last few arcs of it, and I've loved every book. Like, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I had one that was a little bit lower than the rest, but still a great series. If you haven't read it yet, I would highly recommend. So this is actually going to be his new series. And he didn't even really give a full blurb when you signed up for the arc. Or like the cover reveal didn't really have a full arc. It just kind of listed tropes. So I don't really know anything about this. I think it might be tied to like that sex club that was introduced in the previous series. So I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be the guy that runs that club or whatever. I can't remember his name, but this is just all conjecture. I honestly don't know anything about the book yet. But once I saw Jagger Cole's new series up there, I had to go for it. That is going to be coming out on the 11th. So it's a pretty like new release in January. So I'll probably get into that like right at the beginning of January because I can't wait. Another one I think I'm going to get this because Tessa Hale reached out to me on Instagram and asked if I'd be interested in an arc. And I actually have never read Tessa Hale. I've seen her everywhere, but I haven't read any of her books. So I definitely signed on because this is like, I think a reverse harem with dragon shifters. So I thought that sounded like a lot of fun. This is going to be Twilight of Embers. And this releases January 19th. So I'm very hopeful that I'll get that one. The next one that I have is another Mafia series. I got the arc for the previous book and I really enjoyed it. I had never read Bianca Borel before, but this is Sinner's Salvation, and it's going to be the next book in that series. So that's going to be releasing on January 19th. So I'm hopeful that I'll get that one because I did get the previous arc. This one I'm not sure if I'll get because she's really gotten very big, but I did try to get 11 by 11 by Michaelia Smeltzer. I've read a few of her books and I've really liked them. And I don't really know a lot about this. I kind of forgot to write down the blurb, but this one is her newest release, and it's going to be releasing January 24th. Let me see if I have info on it. Hold on. Okay, sorry. I was going to look up the blurb for 11 by 11, but my Goodreads is being really finicky right now. So let's just move it along. So the other one that I wanted to get is actually an advanced listening copy, an ALC. And this is the audiobook for 5 Rounds by Nikki Castle. This, I believe, this is already released, so this is just the audiobook. But I think they should be going out like middle of the month. So I'm hopeful that I'll get that because I haven't read Nikki Castle, but I've heard about that series and I really want to try it. So I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to listen to the audiobook. Then we have Kay Webster's new release, which is The Heart of Smoke. This is coming out January 29th. And it is going to be a male taboo, of course, because it's Kay Webster. But I believe it's this guy that's probably crazy or off the wall, or who knows, and his therapist. And he's like obsessed with his therapist and wants to keep him. So knowing Kay Webster, she always brings the taboo and the spice, and it's always a fun time. So I'm really excited, and I hope I get that arc. That's going to be releasing again January 29th. And the last one that I tried to get is Waiting Game. And this is by Serena Ackroyd, but she's writing as G.A. Mazurki. And this is her foray into like the hockey romance field here. I read the previous one, Endgame, and it was kind of like a friends to lovers. And I don't usually like friends to lovers, and I loved it. It was a pretty thick book for a hockey book, but I loved the entire thing. I love Serena Ackroyd, so I'm hoping that I'm going to get this one too. This is going to be, I think, like she's like a cam girl. And she also, I don't know if she teaches ice skating or whatever, but I think like this guy that she kind of had a one-night stand with ended up being one of her fans, I think, on her cam girl thing. I'm not positive though. Like, we've got bare minimum stuff info, but I think that's kind of what it said. So that one's going to be releasing January 22nd. So those are the arcs that I can remember. I realized I am not good at keeping track of the arcs I request. And then my TBR for December was a shit show because I forgot about a bunch of arcs I requested. So I didn't read a lot of the stuff that I had on my TBR because I kept getting arcs. So I'm going to try in 2024 to keep better track of my arcs so that I don't get overwhelmed. So those are the arcs that I have for January. So I also decided that I wanted to try the 12 Recs from 12 Friends. I've seen it around BookTube and Bookstagram. So I put a little request out there on Instagram and I requested 12 Recs from 12 Friends. And so I'm going to try and basically just read one of those a month for the next year. And the first one that I chose was The Highlander by Kerrigan Byrne. This is the 3rd book in the Victorian Rebels. It's like the 3rd book in the series with the Highwayman. You've probably seen that or read that. That's such an amazing romance. And I love the 2nd one too. So I'm really excited to read this one because he's like the laird of the Mackenzie clan. And then this English governess comes to help take care of his kids, and they basically fall for each other. So I love a Highlander. I love Scottish, all that. So this was actually recommended by Crystal, Books Forever After. So thank you, Crystal, for recking that. She did rec the 1st book, but then said I could pick any book in the series since I read the other ones. And so I'm very excited to finally continue this series. I'm probably going to be listening to that because it is on AnyPlay. And the audiobooks have been really good in that series. Okay, so the next thing that I'm very excited for is the Outlander read along. Jen from the Book Refuge is putting this on. It's going to be like a less stressful read along where it's giving us time to go through the Outlander series. She doesn't even know if we'll finish the full like series where we're at in the first year, because these are really thick and longer, and like, it's got a lot going on in these books. I've read the first, I think, 3 or 4, and then I just kind of gave up on it because they are really long and I just was focused on other things. So I'm very excited she's doing this because I'm going to reread the ones that I've read and then continue on in this series. So I actually just bought the other day the first 4 books, like a book set on Amazon. It was like on sale. It was a great deal. And I'm hoping that I'm going to try and annotate them, because that's one of my goals in 2024 is to try and do some more, to actually do annotating. I've never annotated a book before, and I think it would be really fun. I really want to eventually do the Outlander, the whole Outlander series if I can. I don't know. It's a lot of work. So I plan on listening to this on audiobook, but reading it physically as well. So because I want to try and do some of the annotations and stuff. So it just depends on how good I stick to it. But I eventually do want to do that. I would like to have it on my Kindle too, so that I could like highlight stuff and then just go back to annotating, but we'll figure it out. So for the first month in January, I do want to read Outlander for sure, the first book. So I'm definitely going to be reading that one. Okay. So now we're going to go on to the rest of my books that are just, for me, my TBR, things I've been dying to read. So the first one I have is The Temptation of a Highlander by Lisa Braden. She is actually finally releasing her 4th book in 2024. So I need to catch up on this series. Now, I did make a goal last year to read more historical romance, and I did read more, but not enough. So that's another one of my goals that I'm continuing into this year. So I want to try and, add multiple, like 3 or 4 historicals on my TBR per month. And hopefully more, even more than that sometimes. So this is the 3rd book in the Midnights in Scotland. And I know that I saw like last year, I think Jen from the Book Refuge and Justin Reads Romance, I saw a bunch of people giving it like 5 stars and like 6 stars if they do give 6-star books. So this is where she's like fleeing from a stalker, and she ends up to go stay with like the heroine. She's English. She goes to stay with the heroine from the 2nd book, and she's with the Scottish clan here that we have. And so I've heard it's amazing. So that one, I think that's available on Any Play too. So I'll probably listen to that on the audiobook. Okay, so the next things, some of the next ones I'm going to be listening to are like all the audiobooks I want to listen to. So I have read Priest and Sinner by Sierra Simone. So now I want to get to the romance, and I saw somebody on Instagram give it their favorite romance and romance of the year. So I am going to be reading Saint by Sierra Simone, and that is available on Any Play. Then I'm going to read The Friend Zone by Kristen Callahan. I read the first one. I think it was it The Game Plan? I can't remember what it was called. Sorry. But I read the first one and I freaking loved it. And it was such a great narration. It was Teddy Hamilton, and he was amazing narrating that book. So I wanted to read the next one, and that is also available on Any Play. Then I am trying to read Penelope Douglas's Backlist. I've been trying to catch up, and I haven't been doing a good job of it. So I want to finish the Falling Away series. So I need to read Falling Away. I think it's Falling Away series. Anyways, the book is Falling Away, so I probably have that wrong. But this is book number 3, like in that Bully series. And it is available on Any Place. So I'm going to be listening to that audiobook. One of the other ones I have is Restore Me by G.L. Seegers. I saw everybody talk about how amazing this book was. They were all giving it 5 stars. It was starting to get a lot of hype. So then, of course, I got too scared to read it. But this is on Any Place. So, and I think it's a little bit thicker. So I'm going to try and listen to this audiobook. And I think it's like he was like in love with his best friend's wife and like he's passed away. So I think it's that, a Grumpy Sunshine kind of thing. Not positive. Okay, and then I want to continue with Adelaide Forest. I want to continue her, I think it's the Belandi Syndicate series. I'm really bad with series. I bounce around between multiple Mafia series, so I don't finish them all the time. But this is Scarred Regrets by Adelaide Forest. And this, I think it's book number 5 in the series. So I need to get caught up with that one. And then I want to read a hockey romance. So I want to continue with the Odette Stone series. And that is The Penalty Box. And that is, I think, a hockey romance, but a forced marriage too. That and Scarred Regrets are available on Audible Plus. So if you have that, you can get those on Audible for free. So those are the main like audiobooks that I'm reading. Okay, so there were some books that were on my December TBR that I couldn't get to because I had more arcs than I thought I had, and that is Magnolia Parks. This is one of my goals for 2024. I want to start the Magnolia Parks series. I don't know if I'm going to love it to continue the whole series, but I do need to give Magnolia Parks a try. And so that was actually on my December TBR, but I couldn't get to it. Also, Knotted by Pam Godwin. I actually have the book, but it's over there. I don't feel like getting up to get it. But that's another dark romance by Pam Godwin that I had on my TBR for December. And it's like kind of like they were young lovers, like in high school, I think, and they went out and like to go have sex, like kind of in the woods, and then they end up getting attacked, and I think she was like tied up and stuff. So they have a lot of trauma from that. So that's the other one. The other ones I need to read are from my TBR that I had in December is Lords of Wrath and Lords of Mercy. I need to continue that series. It's a reverse harem, weird college bully one. I was hooked from the first book. It wasn't like the best book I ever read, but it had me like totally interested in it. But I didn't get to finish it in December. And then I need to continue because I'm reading Rena Kent's backlist, trying to catch up to where we are now. I feel like I'm never getting there, but I want to read Reign of King and Rise of a Queen. This is the hero from the first book in her Royal Elite series. It's his father, I think John King or Jonathan King. I can't remember, but it's his romance. It's a duet, and he's came off pretty evil and pretty scary, so it should be interesting to see how his romance goes. Let me see. Oh, yes. And then I also have Archer's Voice. I've been told how crazy I am that I've never read Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, so I definitely need to read that. And then there was A Soul to Keep. I have had this on my TBR for like a year, and I feel bad I have not read it because it sounds great. Sounds like a really good monster romance. And I did see people actually really enjoying this. And then I have Gloam by Lily Mayne. I love Lily Mayne's Monstrous series, but I have been slacking on it, like seriously slacking. So I need to read Gloam. And it was interesting where it left off in like the last book, where he goes off to kind of help this kind of monster that is forced to be like carry this carriage thing for this lady, and it just looks miserable, so he's gonna go off to help him. And then I need to read Caught Up by Liz Tom Ford. It is her, I think, the third book, and is it Wendy's City series? I'm sorry, you guys. But it's the third book. She's also releasing the next one in 2024, so I need to read this one and catch up. And so these were all the ones that I had on my December TBR that I didn't get to, that I want to stick to it and finish these books. December got away from me. I read way less than I usually do because of all the dental pain I was going through. And then I also want to finish the Nikki Harris series, which starts with Our Thing in Cosa Nostra. And so the next books I need to read, the final books, are Their Broken Legend, which I think is Xander's romance, and then His Pretty Little Heirs, which I think is like a novella about them all being happy with like kids and everything. So I'm part of the Nikki Harris Street team now. It's really fun. I'm so excited to be part of that team, and so I definitely need to read that whole series because, you know, I just really love Nikki Harris, and discovering her mafia romance this year has been amazing. Oh, and then I did see somebody put a monster MMF novella that they just read, and it was called Diamonds and Tentacles. And I thought it sounded really fun, and I just saw it on Instagram the other day, and so I was like, I'm adding that to my list. It's a quick little novella. It should be fun. It's MMF, it's monster, it's got tentacles. Sounds like a good time. So those are my books that I have. I'm probably not going to get to all of these. Once again, I made a big TBR, but I'm hoping January will be a better month for me than December was. And, you know, these are just hopeful. Try to stick to this as much as I can. And hopefully I don't get any surprise arcs. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you can, please remember to subscribe, like, comment down below. Let me know what your favorite book you're looking forward to in January, or any new releases that you're looking to read. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.